So here's the thing:
Okay.
is this is running straight into two separate plot points that Mahogany just went through in his own mind.
Okay.
Which is he just came to terms with the fact that it's not his position to change what other things perfect state of being is.
Okay.
And also that he had been thinking about like how he had destroyed that tower, and something about it had seemed off to him. Like his thinking was just not quite right, because at this point Mahogany has had more than his fair share of mind-altering experiences. Let's say. So I think that when he wakes up like this, he just really considers it for a while. Like he tries to get to the thought behind the thought. Okay. So he's going to go into like a meditative state of being and try to figure out what's causing him to think this. Like, okay, so this thing needs to burn down. Why do I think that?
Okay.
Like, what is the logical progression?
All right, that's up to you. You tell me how you justify it, how you rationalize it to yourself. Here's how it shakes out mechanically.
Yeah.
Any action that requires a roll that you make until your next long rest that is not in pursuit of the goal of pulling this cathedral down around you is made at disadvantage.
All right. And I'm going to say that and the reason for that is that Mahogany like looks through his thoughts, realizes he can't figure out why this is happening. Like he tries to think like, oh yeah, like I need this to burn down because of like something super obvious, and then his mind just hits a blank, and he has no idea why he's thinking that.
Now,
so that's like really distracting.
Does Mahogany work through any of these thoughts with his comrades?
Yeah, that's going to be his first thought. Is that he's going to go check with Riot, and he's going to say like, Riot, I've been thinking these things recently, and I don't. It doesn't feel like me.
Okay, well, let's start with the easy solution first. And Riot plays a counter charm for him.
Okay, and counter charm has no effect.
Okay, well, we can throw that one out. So you're not being charmed, or at least not.
Like, does this seem like something I would do? Is this it? Was I wrong?
Does Mahogany tell Riot that he
exactly?
Also...
Yeah, he tells her everything.
Okay, so now she knows that he went back. He actually went back.
Yeah. And he's like, at the time, like it seemed to make perfect sense, but then I was thinking about why I did it, and I don't know.
Okay, I'm glad you came to me with this. I don't think that you should destroy the temple. I think that's a bad idea. Let's not act on that one.
Is it a bad idea because it's not me, or is it because I shouldn't destroy the temple? Because I mean, like, maybe I should destroy the temple.
No, I think
just because other people value the temple, that doesn't mean the temple should exist.
Well, here's the thing, Mahogany. We've been here a while, right?
Yeah.
When we came here for the first time, this is not the first time you've even been in the temple. When you came here the first time, what did you think of it?
And Mahogany, it goes back, and he can't remember. Like, I don't. Maybe I thought I should burn down the temple.
Well, what this suggests to me is that something has gone wrong recently, and maybe it didn't happen in the lake. If you destroyed that, shell, something is wrong with you. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what it is. Can you? Do you have any of those pearls on you? Can you cast Identify?
I can't cast Identify. I have the pearls on me, but that's just in
case. That's
case.
right. That's a ferocity thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because that would identify what was affecting you right now, if it was a spell. Well, we can ask the Swan May, I guess. Let's not tell them everything. Let's not tell them that you want to destroy the temple.
Why?
Because it's their temple.
Maybe they've been planning on making a new temple.
Well,
I think like the tradition of this temple goes back quite a long way, and I don't think newness is something they're really interested in.
Wouldn't they be more inclined to help me if they knew that I wanted to burn down the temple and I couldn't remember why?
No, I think they would just be inclined to throw you in jail until it passed, if it passed.
I don't think I've seen a jail. You're blowing this out of proportion, Riot.
Did you want my help or not?
All right. Okay. You're right.
Right. Yeah, right. I am right. So let's go to the Swan and ask them if they can figure out what's this trouble you're having.
What should I tell them?
Tell them about the shell,
Okay.
and then we don't have to say it's still happening and it's happening about their temple. We can just say, hey, this
Right.
thing
We
happened.
just leave it up to the implication.
Right.
So let's refresh everybody's memory since it's been a couple weeks. There are 4 major NPCs who are kind of in charge of the place. There's 5, but one of them you don't have access to. She is the All-Mother. And the only people who confer with the All-Mother are the 3 head rangers. The first of which is Jestra. She's the one that met with you all out in the wilderness. She's the one that believes Serenity should be married to the betrothed. The second is Helima. Helima is the one who doesn't interpret the prophecy literally, and doesn't stand against the marriage, but she doesn't believe it will solve their problem with these druids.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was Arendu, who was a ranger who was taken captive by the druids, tortured, and then escaped with the help of a dwarven skirmisher from the mountains. And the 5th NPC would be Dathlu, Serenity's betrothed.
Mm-hmm.
So, first question is, do you bring this Mahogany issue to your other comrades? And the second question is, which of these Swanmei do you approach with the Mahogany issue? Which might be the title of this session.
I don't think any of my comrades could help.
Okay.
Just like Serenity and Liberation are fine people, but I don't think they would have any idea where to start with this. I'll bring Mahogany to Jestra.
To Jestra. Okay. What time of day are you planning to do this?
Well, I don't know. When did Mahogany come to me?
Mahogany came to you as soon as he woke up, and probably woke you up to do so.
Okay. All right, then we will not waste any time because I'm a little bit nervous about him following his impulses.
Okay, so you're gonna go flag down Jestra before the morning meal.
Would you say that Mahogany has strong impulse control?
You're right.
I do have to ask, Riot, how do you
4 halflings would beg.
How do you square this confession of Mahogany's that he woke up wanting to destroy everything with this person who murdered an entire tavern filled with halflings?
Yeah, that's
with
why
an ice
I'm not
storm?
wasting any time doing this.
Okay. So
because Riot partially blames herself and her teammates for not getting Mahogany under further control, and now he's saying, I think it would be a really cool idea to destroy this temple. And it's like, you're coming with me. We're going right now. Let's go.
So
see, that's the thing in Mahogany's mind is he saw if he thinks back to when he destroyed that entire inn, there were bad reasons for what he did, but there were reasons. He knew why he was doing what he was doing when he was doing it. And right now, he can't think of the reasons why he wants to burn down this temple, and that's what's bothering him.
But from Riot's perspective, the equation is wanton destruction plus poor impulse control plus cipher equals bad times.
Right. Especially since he's already confessed he's done it once.
Serenity and Liberation, what are your plans for early this morning? Because they're going to go flag down Jestra before the morning meal, so this will be before you are called for breakfast.
Are we aware of this conversation that Mahogany had with Riot?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
Something a little bit, well, depending on how you know, how hush-hush they were trying to be. You may or may not know something urgent is going down with Mahogany and Riot. I'll leave that up to them.
What were you planning on doing, Serenity?
We need to find a way to the ethereal plane to stop that hag.
You know, she's probably long gone by now.
Wouldn't hurt to check. We should ask if the priests have anyone who can take us to the ethereal.
Okay. I guess that's what we're doing then.
And who are you approaching with this question of the rangers that you know?
1 second here to look at my notes. Zookland. Okay, here we go.
That's what your notes are titled?
That's what this the notes on this plane are titled Zookland question mark.
Well, it's pronounced Zookland.
Yeah, it's Zookland. Probably Jestra.
Okay.
I got it. Zooktopia.
It's actually Greater Zuckland.
I've been to Lesser Zuckland. It's a real shithole.
So the two pairs of you actually run into each other as you're both attempting to gain attendance with Jestra this morning.
Oh, you two are up and about early.
Yeah, I had some urgent business to take care of.
Oh?
Yeah, I really want to burn down the temple, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
Okay, time out.
yeah. No, I know. I know it's bad.
Run that by me one more time, please.
He has had this problem, apparently, without any of us knowing, that he wants to destroy things.
And why didn't
And
you tell
the
anyone
new
about
target
this?
is the temple.
What do you mean? I did tell someone about this. That's why we're
Yeah.
here.
Okay, so you do realize what happened last time Mahogany had this kind of impulse, right?
Well, there wasn't really any fallout from that. It mostly just went off fine.
He's
Liberation
talking-
pulls out the El Ciclone journal, starts paging through it. Let's see here.
I don't remember El Ciclone being there, but I mean, I
He's
guess
talking
we
about-
have been dealing with other planes.
El
recently.
Ciclone was there when El Ciclone was
He's talking
there
about the inn,
dealing
not
with the out.
not the
with the,
conch shell.
Yeah.
Why is he talking about the end? He said the last time.
Yeah,
What happened?
And
What-
Mahogany
what-
looks at
what
Serenity.
conch
He's
shell?
like,
What?
he broke that entire conch shell. He went back and destroyed the.
All right, this is a problem. He just snaps the journal shut and puts it
Right,
back.
that's why we're here.
I know. That's why we're That's why we're doing something about it immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any ideas? What's your
I
idea?
have an idea.
Yeah. Well, we're not destroying the temple. What's your idea, Liberation?
What's my idea? Turn him over to the Bleakers and Sigil? That's my first thought.
Lock him up.
Well, I mean, I might destroy the entire. They help a lot of people. I don't think that would be very appropriate.
When did this exactly start?
Well, when I woke up this morning,
So you were alright until you went to bed?
yeah.
So he should just not
I
sleep
think.
anymore.
Well, see, here's the thing: is every time I try to think of how I felt about this temple before, I don't really remember. And I generally remember how I feel about things. That's why I noticed this, is because I was trying to think, and Mahogany will go into the whole thing about how like he's been trying to look into why he thinks things, and he's coming up blank.
Which is par for the course for a cipher.
Well, that's the thing, is it's not. It's par for the course that other people think that he doesn't have a reason for what he's doing, but now he's acting like what people think the ciphers are. Like he has no reason.
At this point, one of Jestra's attendants had taken notice of the four of you conversing, and she approaches you and asks if there's something that she can help with. She looks a little harried. It's a very busy time in the morning getting the breakfast meal prepared. But you are considered guests of honor at this point, so she's taking a second.
My friend here has a bit of a problem that seems to have sprung up while we were traveling in the forest, and we wondered if someone who spent a lot of time in these woods would maybe know something about it. So we came to Jestra.
She tells you that she will check and see if her lady is admitting this morning.
Thank you.
And a few moments later, you are invited into Jestra's quarters.
Okay.
She has, when you enter this room, there's a project that she's working on in the center that several of the other handmaidens are aiding with. She's putting together what is very clearly Dathlu's bridal gown.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a gown that appears to be made entirely or almost entirely of swan feathers.
That's rad.
This is easily the most opulent thing in her quarters. Otherwise, her quarters are very bare bones and basic, very just practical and functional, and not as large as you would have expected for someone of her stature here.
Mahogany loves everything about this room.
And she welcomes you in. Again, she offers her gratitude for what you've done in the lake, beneath the lake.
See, it was nothing, but we wondered if you might have a few moments to spare to talk about a problem that my friend here is having.
And when you say that, instead of naming Mahogany, her eyes immediately go to Serenity, and she looks a little worried.
No, Serenity really wants to get married.
Yeah, she does. No, it's actually Mahogany here who has the problem. It arose at some point during our travels in the forest, and thought maybe you might know something about it, being so experienced with this forest and all.
And she asks what the issue is.
Every so often, it seems, he wakes up with an intense, uncontrollable urge to destroy whatever he's looking at.
And I can't remember why. That's the thing, because like sometimes I destroy things, but like that's fine. But in this instance, like I can't remember the reason why I want to destroy things.
She looks a little confused, and she casts her eyes towards Liberation, and she says that she would expect that sort of impulse to be part of his nature.
Right, exactly. That's the problem.
Arch a brow at that. Really?
Arch one of your devilish Tiefling brows, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I've known Mahogany for a long time, and he's never really exhibited behavior like this before.
Well, and she says it sounds like it's not behavior. It sounds like it's just an impulse. It sounds like it might be in his head. As of yet, nobody's told her about the conch shell.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll tell her. Yeah, I'll tell her. Wait, I'm trying to remember. Mahogany didn't want to destroy that conch shell at first, right?
No, Mahogany was like. So this is Nodal the player saying what was happening. Mahogany at first was way into the conch shell because he thought that it was super cool how like this thing wasn't in its perfect state, and then we made it into such a thing, and then it worked perfectly.
And then we spent did we spend a long rest there?
We spent the night there, and then in the morning he destroyed it.
Okay, yeah, and I'll tell him. Tell her all that. And I'll explain nothing happened between nightfall and dawn to make him angry at the conch shell. He just woke up with a sudden urge to destroy it.
She is very distressed at hearing that this site has been destroyed. The conch shell was known to be a place of great beauty in the southern reaches of the forest, beyond their borders. And many of the ranging parties that went far out into those extremes would use it as a campsite, as a place of shelter. And to hear that it's been so wantonly destroyed, she essentially turns to Mahogany and demands an explanation.
And Mahogany just puts his hands out and says, I don't know. I don't know why. It's like Riot says that the day before I seemed to enjoy it, but I don't remember that at all.
Make a persuasion check. You have to make this at disadvantage.
Yeah, you don't need to do that with Mahogany. Mahogany has a 7 charisma.
And they both go off the...
11.
One of these days, Mahogany, we're all going to log in a tabletop simulator and everything's going to be changed again. And one of the changes they will have made is when you throw dice off the table, you just get punched in the face. Like a fist just comes out of your screen and breaks your nose.
That sounds awesome. I'd like to figure out how they're doing that. And the only way I can think to figure out how they're doing it is to keep provoking it.
Then we'll all be at the ER 6 months later, staging interventions. Like, you have to stop throwing the dice now.
There's magical fists coming out of my TV.
There's brain damage, please. Your mother's crying.
Nodal. Do it for the people who love you.
So you got an 11.
You have succeeded in making her very worried about the upcoming ceremony. So what precisely details have you given her about the urges you woke up with this morning?
None. We are not talking about that.
Okay. Mahogany, she asks you point blank whether or not these destructive urges will extend to their territories here.
And Mahogany says, I'm going to write this down on my sheet because this is Mahogany would actually give a shit about this. And Mahogany says, no matter how I feel, I won't destroy anything on your territory. So if there ever comes a point where I have to, that's not happening, guys. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
So when you're back in this plane a year from now, and the swan may have been wiped out by Illithids, and you're all sitting there with an earthquake scroll, you're going to be like, hey, man, I said what I said.
Yeah.
Okay. She says that this is not her area of expertise. The dealings of the mind are kind of outside of her wheelhouse. She is more into like the ebbs and flows of nature. If this was a natural impulse, she would have some ideas on how to curtail it, which is why she was surprised that it's you and not Liberation, because you're basically a fish and he's Satan.
If it was a natural impulse, I wouldn't be worried about it.
Who's Satan?
Oh, character from Persona, don't worry about it.
Got it.
More to the point, is there any way onto the ethereal plane from here?
Nice segue. Good transition.
No, that makes sense. Is there?
She said...
And then Mahogany looks straight at Serenity and goes, we have to deal with those
Riot
guys.
said that in character, by the way.
Serenity said more to the point, but what she really meant was changing the subject entirely because I'm bored with this now. I'm going to defer to Nodal's knowledge because I did not research this. Are there ways for druids or rangers to access the ethereal plane? Is that something you can do with your druid magic? Do they have access?
I'm not 100% sure, but I have an easy way of looking it up.
Yeah, look that up.
So let me do that. So
because that will be predicated on how we answer Serenity's question.
So their statement though is whatever rangers have, because we can move on from the scene kind of just under the understanding of they have whatever way a ranger has.
Yeah, basically. How she's going to leave it with Mahogany. She says that she will, because she knows that there was a strong illithid presence in this place at one point in time. The dwarves from the mountain homes had to come in and basically eradicate. And it's possible that you have been ensorcelled by their psychic magic.
Okay.
She has no way to test whether or not this is the case. There are various ways they have to cleanse, like dark fey maladies that have been passed down between the generations that you're welcome to try. So there's one very powerful one in particular that she's not sure will work because you can breathe underwater.
Okay. I could try to not breathe.
So as for the answer to Serenity's question, can rangers or druids access the ethereal plane?
I don't think so. I'm seeing something called planar binding, but I don't think that's
No, that's
relevant.
just that summons things.
Yeah.
I think you'd either want plane shift or etherealness, and neither of those are cleric or druid.
That's not a druid thing. No, it's absolutely a cleric thing.
Or no, I meant
Clerics-
ranger druid things. Yeah.
Yeah, not a druid thing.
The Swanmaid don't have a lot of knowledge. They don't really have any knowledge of planes beyond this one. They have legends about worlds between worlds, and as she kind of describes them, you understand she's talking about the ethereal and astral planes. But these are spoken of, like great magic users from the past have been able to access these places. Not places that the Swanmaid really utilize. The reason that she knows of their existence is because powerful fey creatures from the western expanses of the forest will utilize these worlds between worlds from time to time. But no, they don't have a way to access them. And to do so, to cross into one of these worlds, would be considered an abomination to their order.
Why is that? I might be missing something on the particulars of Swanmay philosophy.
Just general, they fear what they don't understand.
Oh.
We don't know the ethereal, so it must be bad.
Well, there's something very bad there right now that we would like to take care of.
So, I mean, their story checks out.
The ethereal plane, by the way, is like the home of the godsmen. That's their home plane. So, right now, Liberation, they're all just talking smack about your base, dude.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, honestly, Mahogany is curious if Liberation has any insights.
I was born like 2 months ago.
He's never even been... I don't even know if Elsie Clone had been to the ethereal at any point.
Nope.
Yeah, but you were hanging out with your faction a lot. Did any of them say anything?
Not really. They were more interested in my transfiguration.
The what you would know, just like general Godsman knowledge, because you were spending quite a lot of time at the Forge. The ethereal plane is considered to be the Godsman's plane of influence because it's a plane of creation. It's a plane where you can make things, like tangible material things, out of nothing. You can shape the world to like an ideal state.
So kind of like Limbo.
No, not like Limbo, because Limbo is roiling chaos, and the things that you create there aren't real. They disappear after a time. The ethereal, like the word that keeps popping into my head is the Soul Forge from the World of Darkness. Like, I don't know if anybody here has played the World of Darkness, but you've got this big kind of roiling, misty plane, and it's just pure potential. A lot of powerful wizards, like Terran, used to, or they'll make demi-planes and things in the ethereal after they've kind of transcended what they can do on the prime material. In a more practical sense, the Godsmen obviously have doors in and out of the ethereal plane in their forge. They also are known to craft keys that let them step into the ethereal plane from other places that touch it. These little tokens or items are usually personal, and they're not very useful to planewalkers because most planewalkers are on the outer planes, and the outer planes don't touch the ethereal, so they're typically not useful. However, some godsmen have been known to take these and kind of sell them on the black market on the prime material plane.
Okay.
So there's general knowledge you might have.
We could probably find a way, but it would take some doing. And if we were going to go to all that effort, what I'm getting from this is, if we were going to go to all that effort, we could just go fucking hit up a wizard and single.
Yeah.
Well, she'd probably be long gone by then, unfortunately.
But yeah, even just giving her time to rest, time for us to rest, is giving her plenty of opportunity to gain distance on us. I think that we've run her off.
What you're learning from Gestra here is that there are creatures in these woods that can access the ethereal.
What type of creatures?
She calls them dark fey creatures.
Okay.
Hags, in other words. They are very prominent in the western expanses of the woods. She's not she's not totally shocked to hear that they had broken into the lake under the lake, so to speak. But usually the hags are turned to kind of just their own plots, and they don't really rub up against the swan maze that often. They're not considered to be enemies. They're just considered to be dark things from the unknowable woods far away from us.
In any case, you probably should poke your head down in the lake beneath the lake more often.
Well, now they'll have a reason to.
Residence. Yeah.
What's good, Nick?
Can you remind me, did we know or suspect that the hags were working with the evil druids?
You didn't know it or suspect it, but you did use detect thoughts at one point, as I recall.
Okay, yeah.
So that's how you learned it.
Okay.
Because she was lying to you about being a hag at first. She was telling you she was a swan may.
Right.
And for some reason, you guys just have this prejudice where like you don't naturally trust my NPCs. I can't imagine why.
Because your NPCs want to get us killed. But come on now.
Actually, I think there was one point where I figured out she wasn't a hag because she didn't know a language, which is the best use of languages that I can remember in D&D.
I did receive the message loud and clear. Less monsters that can swallow you. Got it.
Griffin's gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, no, I'm done getting swallowed. Like, can we just not that anymore, please?
At this point, Gestra turns the conversation to the upcoming ceremony and asks Serenity if she has any... she asks Serenity what is the traditional garb in your tribe for marriage ceremonies. Because they will make any effort...
Meant to say something about that. I'm pretty sure at this point I'm not the right person from the prophecy, because I'm pretty sure your prophecy didn't have any of those hags down there. Also, your statue has both eyes.
Oh, you mean the tapestry?
Tapestry, right. Sorry. It's been a while.
She asks if you were born with two eyes.
Well, yeah, but...
And how did you... she apologizes for prying if it's a personal or painful matter, but how did you come to lose that one?
In combat, I was somewhat reckless when I was younger.
When you were younger. Well, technically you were younger yesterday, so yeah.
Yeah.
Mahogany nods, like that makes perfect sense to him.
And she says that prophecy is a very malleable thing, that interpreting words from the past, filtered through ages of magic and interpretation, that regardless of whether the depictions in the tapestry literally depict you and Dathlu, she still believes the two of you to be in the tapestry. She points out that there are differences between how Dathlu looks and the girl, the betrothed depicted in the tapestry. Facial structure is different, eyes are a different shape, the hair has a different weave to it, etc.
Right. It points out also that the tapestry could be depicting a future scene, one which perhaps you've had your eye restored.
Right, so there's no need to be stressed out about it. You can still get married.
Yeah.
In Mahogany's mind at this point, Serenity would have said something if she didn't want to get married, because of course she would have. So, like, of course she wants to, she just thought she could.
Out of character, remind me, was Gestra one of the ones who thought that the prophecy was more
Gestra's the one. No, Gestra's the one who takes it literally.
Okay.
Halima is the one who doesn't really like it that much.
Gestra she interprets the prophecy literally, But what you've noticed in speaking with her, especially raising this issue of, hey, that doesn't even really look like me that much. Just do all Genasi look the same? What, are you racist? She will twist any evidence you show her that it's not you and rationalize it. It's one of her religious beliefs. She will rationalize it however she has to, because she believes it so fervently.
So, Serenity, I'm pretty sure I asked you this before, but let me ask you flat out right now. Do you want to get married?
Is this in front of everyone?
Yes.
Not particularly.
Jestra looks heartbroken at the mention of that, and she asks if Dafflu does not please you.
Honestly, it's not her specifically, but I think this whole getting married to someone who can't really handle their own in combat, who would be a liability if, they ever get kidnapped, I happen to have a number of enemies, just seems like a bad idea.
And she begins explaining.
I heard the fiance in the background. I'm sorry.
So what you're saying is before your wedding, there's going to be gladiatorial combat to make sure that she's up to snuff?
What's the marriage between, out of character? A marriage between...
Earth and Wing.
Earth and Wing, yeah.
Okay.
No, she points out all of the various types of combat training that are undertaken by the Swan Maze here, and that after Dafflu is married, she will be free to undertake all of that same training, whatever strikes her fancy, and she's sure that she will do whatever is required to make you happy. That with your tutelage, she can learn combat techniques that no Swan may have attempted.
I wouldn't worry about it too much, Serenity. I know you're having a little bit of cold feet, a little bit of commitment issues here the night before the day before your marriage, but yeah, I think you'll get over it.
It's like Act 2 of a romantic comedy here. I love it. Starring Jennifer Aniston. So when you guys walked in and started talking...
Mahogany will turn to Serenity and goes, do you want me to tell her it's off?
I'll take care of it.
Alright.
Yeah, when you guys started talking about the Genasi in your party having destructive tendencies, she looked a little worried. Now that Serenity has said she doesn't want to marry Dafflu, she's looking much more worried. But she tells you that she will do whatever it takes to assuage your reservations. She also feels that the pull of destiny will draw you inexorably to this marriage, and attempting to escape it, attempting to move away from it, will only cause you pain and grief. And perhaps she can prove to you that this is a joyous twist of fate by seeking out your tribe's traditional marriage garb and acquiring it for you.
Are there any gnomes in this forest?
There are many families of gnomes. They live to the east of them, in between here and the goblinoid territories.
There's one gnome in particular who's in this forest. Maybe you guys forgot.
He is of
the entire
forest.
reason we're here.
Yeah.
And Mahogany's voice is
No, that's out of character. That's out of character.
Okay.
In character, he will say, though, like, oh, well, you can just ask Zook.
To which she replies something to the effect of, we would love to invite Zook to this most joyous of ceremonies, him being such a great friend of the Coven. Unfortunately, he's the type of guy that is kind of impossible to reach. He's a you find you type of dude. But yeah, she could confer with some of the gnomish families. She could make inquiries. She's not sure, she says we might have to take the gown out a little bit. Since Serenity is 9 feet tall.
Anyway, I think I've done all I can do with Mahogany. Hey, Serenity, you want to go have breakfast?
Sure.
All right.
I think I want to have breakfast. And the Mahogany stands there for 10 full seconds. And then says, yeah, let's go.
And
Just have
puts her
breakfast,
arm
don't
around-
think about
around
it.
Serenity's shoulders as best as she can, and kind of leads her off.
Okay. And the
All right,
morning
so
meal.
after
is served.
breakfast.
Mhm.
Oh, so after breakfast, we're gonna track down. What was the other one's name? Halmaya?
Halima.
Halima.
Okay.
Really, Serenity is. Anyone else can do what they want.
After the morning meal, Halima is
Oh, I want to. Okay.
Halima is walking through the gardens. Were you doing something during breakfast?
I wanted to actually
Eating.
make. Yeah. Well, also, I wanted to actually make my case to Serenity for why she should get married.
Okay. Feel free.
Okay. So, I sense that you're having some reservations around this, and I kind of get that. But I think it'd be a good idea for like at least 5 reasons.
What are the 5 reasons?
I guess 3 of them don't actually apply to you. But
What?
look, I got a lot going on. But for you in particular, look. All right, tell me this: when we were fighting those lizardmen out in the river, right? Where were you? What did you do?
I mean, I ran down some lizardmen and hit them with my maul. Then the frog showed up and I ran it down and I killed it, or helped kill it. I don't remember who actually got the last hit on that one.
And down in the lake when the hag revealed herself, where did you go? What did you do?
I mean, I kept the skeletons off of you as you dealt with a lot of stuff a lot more competently than I might normally expect, and then got on top of the hag.
No, I'm pretty sure you went to another plane. I remember that. You got banished?
It was more of a demiplane, but I came back.
You spent part of that battle as a ladybug too, as I recall.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So my point in asking you this is to say that what you do around us when things get hot is you charge straight ahead, and we don't see you a lot of the time because you just go off in your own little world. Remember that time you said, "Hey, Riot, I could use some help here"? I think that was the first time you had looked back at me since that fight started.
Well, I didn't need help until that point.
And this is what I'm getting at. This is the point of what I'm coming down to. I think it would be good for you to have somebody that you need to think about in your life. Because you have this tendency to kind of like focus only on yourself and your own immediate goals and what's happening right now, when there's a whole bunch of other stuff that it would be good to think about.
I think adding another goal that I ostensibly have to think about, but realistically just have to do something about, seems counterproductive to achieving the goals you're worried about.
I disagree. I'm not so sure. I think it'd be good for you to have to factor somebody else into your decisions day to day.
You know, like Kelian has his cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing.
Where is
though.
that cat?
Nobody said that, but yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing, though. Serenity, like, are they going to expect you to stay here, Serenity, or are they going to expect you to, or will you be able to continue going with us? Because remember, we still got this whole Aunt Nancy thing going on.
Also quite a bit back in Sigil. At any rate, I want to talk to Halima. She seems a little bit more reasonable.
Well, she seems equally dogmatic as Gestra in her own way.
True,
I mean,
but her dogma fits my purposes better. You're right. I misspoke.
Wow.
She's the zealot that I agree with.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Who's going with Serenity to seek out Halima in the gardens?
I'll go.
Mahogany's going because he thinks this is really interesting.
Okay.
Right.
Because he...
Riot had better go to try and intervene however she can.
And honestly, as they walk there, Mahogany's asking Serenity, he's like, so when did you decide not to get married?
I don't know that I specifically decided. I just, at some point, I realized I wasn't going to get married. I don't know that there's a when to it.
Why didn't you say anything?
I mean, we were busy.
I think you didn't say anything because you hadn't decided, because this whole Cadence of the Plains thing has been failing you on this decision. I think you don't really know what you want yet.
El Ciclone does the Friday damn thing.
Well, I don't need to know what I want. I just need to do it.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If I want to get introspective later, I can always try and figure it out, but it's not really worth the effort, I've found.
I mean, putting aside everything else that's dumb about your philosophy, you at least like have to want to do something to do it, right?
No, you just do it.
Like take Mahogany here, right? He wants to destroy the temple. He doesn't know why.
That's obvious. The obvious failure
He
here
doesn't
is
know why
he
wants to do it, but
Right, that's the issue.
He at least
the
has
issue is
that one
he hasn't
thing.
just done it, which is, I mean, on one hand, good because he shouldn't want to, but at the other hand, he shouldn't want anything. He should just do.
It took us 48 sessions, but we finally had a shouting match based on philosophical faction debate. I'm very proud of all of you.
And Mahogany will turn to Serenity. He goes, I don't know that that's true. I mean, I always have a reason for wanting to do the things I do.
But
You're not.
the reason isn't the point. The reason is that you have a reason to that you want something, right? Like Mahogany, I don't know. Where's Kelian? He can help me out with this.
Who knows? He's probably off getting laid or some shit.
It's not that I don't have goals or moment-to-moment desires. It's just that too much reflection, they all get messed up. All you need to do is whatever you need to do. It's that simple.
I think
I used to think that
you're making it that simple for yourself, and you're cutting out a lot of things that are important in the process.
I used to think that way, Serenity, but then I found that when I did the thing that I was thinking at just that moment to accomplish what I wanted to do, I never actually did it. So I don't think that works.
I mean, it works for me. And maybe as you get further down your own path of discovery, it'll work better for you. Or maybe not. Maybe the Scythers aren't cut out for you, Mahogany, but I'll always consider
I don't think that's what the Ciphers are about. Because I've been talking to other people, and they said that they did a lot of planning. It's just that they had already accomplished all their planning at the moment, and that makes sense to me. Because I mean, you can only do one thing, right? There's only one thing that you're going to do. So you just need to know what that thing is.
I mean, that's another way of looking at it. To me, I think that's saying that if they do all their planning in the moment, that's the same as doing no planning at all and just doing it.
But Serenity, listen.
You're getting too obsessed with the moment.
When you say you do what works for you, that's circling into what I was saying before. You're only doing what's good for you. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's also going on around you, and you're not thinking about any of that.
Can I get some?
Are you really that self-centered?
Can I get some clarification before this goes a lot further? Riot's goal here is itself very self-serving, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, just so I can 60% of what Riot's saying she believes.
Wait. But here's the thing about Riot is what she was saying earlier about there's 5 reasons why you should do this. That's true.
3 of them are Riot's reasons.
3 of them are Riot's reasons, but there's also one of the reasons is that we're not factoring in Dathlu's opinions. Dathlu really wants to get married. Dathlu's way into Serenity.
Yeah, but if Serenity's not way into Dathlu, then that doesn't why should it satisfy one person but not both?
Well, then that's another interesting question, because then it's a matter of whose opinion do we care about?
Not Serenity's, apparently.
No, not really.
Liberation cares about her opinion.
So what is Liberation's addition to the philosophical debate? Where does Liberation stand on the idea, should Serenity get married or not?
Well, here's the thing: is there's this whole destiny thing, that the component to it, and that would speak to Liberation, if not for the fact that he was the first thing that twigs in his mind in anything is that everybody has the freedom to choose, and if And if somebody is not free to choose, then it's wrong. Just plain and simple.
Does Liberation believe that Dathlu had the freedom to choose, considering she was essentially brainwashed since birth?
No, he hasn't even gotten to that point yet.
Okay.
Like he needs to handle his own before he can get on to fixing other people first.
Okay.
Then Riot will bring it up. So what about Dathlu? Like, what are you just gonna leave her with half of an unfulfilled prophecy? I mean, she was ready to do this thing that she'd been trained to do her whole life. She was going to be the one.
But there have been other ones before her, and there'll be other ones after. I mean, honestly, maybe if we talk to Lema, they can make if they agree that the prophecy is more metaphoric, they'll stop.
But there's been no other ones before. There's been no other ones before who were sitting there one day, and then their bride actually showed up. They spent their whole lives waiting, but never finding. Now
just until they were an adult, and they got on with their lives.
Also, you're saying there will be other ones afterwards, but that's not true if you marry her.
But now you've got one who's actually who's fulfilling the prophecy as far as anyone can tell, and just saying, no, we're not going to be doing that.
Let me ask this and get an answer from all four of you. Does anybody believe that this marriage will solve this druid problem that they have?
No.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Mahogany did, but now he doesn't anymore because Serenity doesn't seem into it.
In Riot's mind, how does that work then? How does the marriage solve the druid problem?
Well, and this is another one of the reasons Riot thinks it should all go through. Like I said, they're not all selfish reasons.
Okay.
She isn't sure. She doesn't know exactly how these things go, but she does know, if she knows anything, that stories that have a lot of built-up belief and tradition in them have a lot of power in them as well. And for something that so many of these people believe in this long, to fulfill that, it can't do nothing. Like, something is going to happen if this ceremony goes through.
Mahogany waves his hand in front of his head. He says, okay. I think we can make us all agree on this. We want to solve the druid problem, right? And Riot, you think that fulfilling the prophecy will solve the druid problem.
We just came here to find Grandfather Zook.
Well, now there's other
we
things
come
going
places
on.
to do lots of things. Don't worry about it. So if we think that solving the prophecy will solve the druid problem, and this prophecy seems reasonably malleable, we just need to solve the prophecy without Serenity getting married.
Well,
so how can we fit this prophecy without Serenity getting married?
Mahogany could volunteer. Yeah, Halima steps away from her, the handmaidens working in the gardens. Arms covered in dirt and soil as she's been working the plants all morning. She seems in good spirits. She greets you all.
So we were interested in talking to you about the prophecy.
How is Serenity carrying herself in this conversation? Like, are you wearing this, like, worry on your face, like I might end up getting married and don't want to?
No, Serenity's not worried about that.
Does Serenity ever look worried?
Yeah, when she asks for help.
Well, yeah, when she crits 3 times and kills 3 other guys, and it's like, oh, hey, no, I need help now.
I feel like Serenity views the entire world into a series of problems that can be solved with her maul. And Deathloop's kind of scrawny, like 2 hits, maybe. So, yeah, Halima
Serenity swings the hammer.
She says she's open to discussing it with you, and in fact, she was going to seek you out this morning after her work in the gardens. She'd been, now that you're back safely and are well rested and have eaten, she's delighted to speak with you about it.
Hey, we want to solve the prophecy, but we don't want Serenity to get married.
Well, let's not say we before we, let's not say things you don't mean.
To start, I would be interested in exactly how you view the entire religion. Not necessarily in
That's a good point.
depth.
Thank you, Serenity.
She asks you to walk with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks over to a basin of water nearby and scrubs the soil off of her arms. And she tells you that belief among the Coven is not quite evenly split, but there is a divide. That right now, most of the combat-ready Swanmays they're gearing up for war. They have heard the tales of what happened to Erindu, and Erindu is very gung-ho about taking the fight to the Swanmay. She says that word will be coming from the mountain homes any day now, that the prisoner that helped her escape will be ready to sweep in from the east. And all of this talk of war and violence has Halima, it wears on her greatly. That she doesn't believe this is a fight that can be won with arms. And she says to Serenity that she means no offense, knowing that you are the type of warrior who tends to solve many problems with arms. But at the same time, this is not something that can be solved with mysticism either. As you walk with her, through the commons, back to the gates of the cathedral, and then to the long spanning bridge that goes from the island out to the entrance of the forest. And walking across this bridge, off to your right, you see the great river that you followed to get up here. And she says that defeating these druids will require action on their part. And that using resources to throw what is essentially a large, wasteful party to fulfill a prophecy is not the action she had in mind.
What actions did you have in mind?
And she looks out over the river. She says that we know that the waterfall to the south, that would be these falls here, at the base of this waterfall is where you fought 24 velociraptors. That somehow this is connected to the source of these druids' power. Somehow their magic is being pulled from this spot. And looking out over the river, she says we have the means to dam this river and deny them access to the falls.
Would that build a large lake, or would you divert it?
She says that it would be the cause in the short term of a lot of pain and a lot of hardship for not just the Swanmay Coven, but for a lot of other tribes and families that live to the south who rely on this river. In the short term, say a generation or so, the forest itself would suffer. Parts of it would dry out, turn brown. Many trees, many animals would die. Some tribes as well might. As far as diverting the river, it carries the exact same problem, because now tribes that did not have to deal with, say, annual flooding and whatever, now have this issue. In the long term, however, she believes that this is the best course of action, because the alternative, letting these druids carry out whatever nefarious scheme they have, she worries that the entire forest would suffer irreparable harm.
You seem to be making a lot of decisions for the forest.
Yeah, so, and Riot turns to Serenity and says, well, there you go, there's your choice. You can cause death and destruction over decades to untold number of people and tribes down the river, or you can get married.
And solve what exactly?
And solve the druid problem.
Halima.
Get drunk and then you just slit their throats in their sleep?
Yeah, I know that you guys don't really cast a lot of magic or understand how magic works or really anything about the world in general.
Wait.
Wow.
I do that a lot, though. And in fact...
But I have every reason
it's
to believe
kind of my
that this
thing.
ceremony is going to work.
And Halima asks Riot, and in the depths of your expertise of Swanmay magic and lore, how did you arrive at this conclusion?
Riot shrugs and I take it on faith.
And so seems another contingent, a fairly large contingent of these people as well. Just taking it on faith.
Mm-hmm.
And Halima,
that kind of faith, it means something.
Halima concedes that it doesn't mean nothing. However, she has seen cults of the forest rise and fall. People who bent themselves towards prophecy and faith, and who were destroyed, sometimes not even by maliciousness, not by, say, marauding orcs or logging humans or whatever, sometimes just by a quirk of nature, a freak storm. People, instead of battening down the hatches, instead of preparing,
or instead of praying to the proper gods.
Mahogany cast Detect Magic.
Okay. Like, on what in particular are you trying to determine?
I'm getting there. It's not something I'm trying to determine. It's something that instantly is apparent. And he says, Riot, when did you get that ring?
Can I? Okay, I'll answer that question, but I want to ask, what was the actual reason Mahogany cast that spell?
Because Riot started talking about taking things on faith, which
Okay,
she has
gotcha.
never done.
Right.
And
okay.
now that she's acting more like a cleric, ostensibly, for the reason of the opposite of what's going on, Mahogany's like, something's wrong here.
And Riot looks at her hand. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't have a ring on.
And Mahogany reaches out and grabs her ring.